Now I can say something like 5% of my resources, so 10 resources, 5% of my resources account for most of my income. I don't have time to update 100 plus resources. I don't have to update 100 plus resources. Let's just focus on the vital few. I'll try changing the product covers for these first 10 and see if that makes a difference. And if it doesn't, well, then I'll go and undo it. If it does make a difference, then I'll go spend time and fix all of my covers. Hey, TPT sellers, if you're like me, you have a problem. And the problem is you have no time. And the problem with no time is that eventually it leads to TPT burnout. But what if there was a way we could squeeze out more time? What if we could become more efficient in the way that we do things on our TPT business? In this episode, I'm going to show you how to do a 5-minute quick 80-20 analysis of your store to figure out maybe what you should be working on. This video is not for everyone. If you are just starting out and you are an egg, work on your TPT store, just create content, try to get that first sale, have fun. If you are a TPT tadpole and you have a couple of sales, just keep tinkering, try a bunch of different stuff. Eventually you'll start to notice, hey, this is working, and then do more of that. You'll hear the ka-ching sound on your app. Some of us are TPT hamsters and TPT hawks. In this case, we want to follow the money. This video is for you. And if you're not making a lot of money yet, then we have to go a step back in the funnel, which is we're looking for engagement. It might be page views, it might be questions, it might be comments that people are leaving, but we're looking for that activity so that we can focus on that. Here's an example of some results. In this results, here are 80% of your results, and here are 20% of your results. And there's this idea called the Pareto principle, which is basically that 80% of what you do produces 20% of your results, and 20% of what you do produces 80% of your results. What if this was a hospital? And, every life is important, but we have to optimize where we spend our time, and maybe we need to focus on those 20% of causes that produce 80% of the outcome. So if we think about this as a hospital, those 80% of results, we call that the vital few. But the other side is still important. We call that the useful many. Well, what about your TPT business? Pretend these are your earnings on TPT. Here's 80% of your income, and here's 20% of your income. And the Pareto principle would tell us that 80% of our products only produces 20% of our money, whereas 20% of our products here accounts for 80% of our income. So, where do you spend your time on your TPT business? The Pareto principle would tell us that we spend most of our time on 20% of income generating results. And only 20% of the things that we do in our TPT business accounts for 80% of our earnings. The problem is we don't have enough time. There's so much to do. There's not enough time. So the solution is to focus on things that work in your store. I don't know what works in your store, but we can use your data to try to figure that out. So what does this actually look like? Let's say you get this idea that you need to improve your product covers. What if instead of updating all of your products, you only focus on updating the products for those vital few products that generate your income? If changing the way that you do covers actually increases results, then take that skill and apply it to the useful many. Or if you decide that I'm going to try tinkering with the first paragraph of my TPT product description because I want to see if that increases sales, you don't have to do it with all of your products. What if you focused on the vital few, see if that makes a difference, and then if it does, apply it to the useful many? If you have 500 products, you don't have to update 500 covers. You only have to update the vital few. Here's how to do a free 80-20 analysis in less than 5 minutes. On your marks, get set, go. All right, so I'm going to go to afreesellertool.com. I'm going to click the download button. I'm going to sign up with a new email address, mike@educircle.org. I need a link to my TPT store, so let's get that right now. I just saw it a second ago. Let's click on store, my store. All right, here's my link, here's my store, hit subscribe. It wants me to prove I'm not a robot. Bicycles, 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 bicycles. Are those bicycles? No, I think that's bicycles. I'm not a robot. That's how you prove you're human, everyone. All right, so now I have to check my email address. I'm going to do that off camera. So let's just do this really quickly. All right, so I have this email. Here we go. Keep this email to get the most recent version. Sent 0 minutes ago. Confirm your subscription. It opens up a Google Sheet tool, which I will make a copy. All right. It's thinking, it's making a copy. All right, I'm going to click on this yellow button here, paste in your TPT product stats. So I'm going to click on this link to get my stats. I will wait for the internet. There we go. Click download to Excel. I'll wait for TPT's website. I'll wait some more for TPT's website. Oh, there we go. It's on the wrong screen here. I will save it to my downloads file. Here we go, downloads. So it's downloading it. I'm going to go to the copy. I'm going to click on this yellow cell. I'm going to click File, Import, Upload. I'm going to find that folder where I just downloaded it. Downloads. There it is, my product stats. I'm going to open it. It's going to upload it into my file. I'm going to change the import location to replace data. And then I'm going to hit Import Data. Give it a second. It might take a second to load because it's importing all the data. It looks like it's done, but it's not actually done. It's still importing. Boom, there we go. I'm going to click on this number 2. I'm going to right click it. I'm going to click on delete row. So I got rid of that row. And then down here it says 80/20 tool. I'm going to click on that and boom, I am done. So how do I use this? Great question. Here it is, 80/20, it's 2 minutes, 15 seconds. All right, so 80/20 is what it's set at, and that means that these green resources here, if I click on this plus button just to show you, I can see the exact numbers. So up to here, this is 80% of my earnings, and then that's the cutoff line here, these green resources here. And if I wanted to change it, if I want to see, okay, well, which of my products produces like 50% of my earnings? Well, I changed the numbers and I can see the colors there with green. And by the way, the dark green is how much each component product, each of those product lines attributes towards my total income. And if I go to the bottom, this is 100% of my income. So if I go up to the top and I want to see, well, what about 85% of my income? There we go. That's how much 85% of my income is. I'll change it back to 80. Okay, let's say I want to see like 20% of my income, or 80/20. Like 20% of my resources. If I scroll down here, the green colors, let's just close this. Here it is. I can see a sentence like 42 of my resources account for 99% of my earnings, or like 42% of my resources, or 20%, accounts for $78,000 of my earnings. All right, well, what if I want to keep it simpler and I don't want 20% of my income? What's the 10% that's vital few? So I'll click on 10. Okay, so now if nothing obvious has changed, but if I scroll down, that green goes all the way down here to the end of the 10 here. So I can say something like 20/1 of my resources, so 10% of my resources account for 96% of my earnings. Wow, okay, well, what if I say 5? What if I change this to 5% of my resources? Now I can say something like 5% of my resources, so 10 resources, 5% of my resources account for most of my income. If I have this idea that might make me more money, let's say I have this idea that if I put quotes, like buyer reviews as quotes into my product descriptions as part of like the sales point to address pain. If I put it, I don't have time to update 100 plus resources. I don't have to update 100 plus resources. Let's just focus on the vital few. I'll try changing the product covers for these first 10 and see if that makes a difference. And if it doesn't, well, then I'll go and undo it. If it does make a difference, then I'll go spend time and fix all of my covers. Oh, one very quick point. If I put a percentage here, it'll mess things up because now it's thinking of it as a percentage. And now I need to change it back to 5, but it won't let me. It's very frustrating. You might probably want to undo it, like undo, just until you get back to the 5. But the other way is if you have changed it into a percentage and it's too late to undo, you just click on these number formats and you just change it to number. And you can see that 5% is actually 0.05. Well, okay, now I can change it to 5. And that's how you reset it. And if you don't like the decimal points, just click on this button to get rid of the decimal points. That's it. Now you know which resources in your store produce the biggest bang for your buck, and that's where we should probably be spending our time. And that's it. Boom, we're done. Hey, have you been watching these videos for a while? Is it time to go SEOtpreneur Pro? It might be. My goal is to share all of my thoughts and ideas about TPT for free on YouTube. The problem is I don't have enough time to create these videos because the editing takes a lot of time and I can't afford $700 to have an editor team edit up and produce these videos. So what I do is when I have a TPT thought, I just share it here. I write a quick point here. I wish I did this when I started my TPT store, or here's how people make money from domain squatting and why you should buy your domains. I put little thoughts that come up in my head up here because it takes me 2 minutes to write this post, but it would take me, I don't know, 2 hours or 2 days to produce a YouTube video. So if you're interested in joining the SEOtpreneur Pro community, I have a secret code that is on the screen right now. And if you click on the link in the video description and use the secret code, you'll get a 50% discount. You'll get a 50% discount off the first 3 months. So now is the perfect time to go pro.